UI. So you just installed the game, you got V6 running, Steam is handling all the controllers, and you even got your baseline mods, so everything works just well if you want to speedrun it. Now you also want to install the item randomizer. And this is specifically what this video is for, how to install the item randomizer made by BMN for the PC version for Metal Gear 2 Substance, which is not the Master Collection version, but the original from 2002. So let's get ready and get items randomized. So in order to get the item randomizer, we're going to go once again back here to BMN's page here, mgs.woody.com/mgs2/ASI. And here, on the latest version, there's a second file called extra config files for unstable mods, which is, for example, a first-person modification, info, item, rando, performance, and wet %. Now, we're not going to go into each of these. First-person mode technically explains itself. You can play the main game with being forced into FPV the whole time. Info is different, performance different, and wet % is basically that Snake is constantly sneezing. However, the key aspect of this set here is item randomizer, and that's what we're going to go into detail today. So once you got this zip file downloaded, we're going to install them, and we install them just like we did in the last video. Once again, go here to a scripts file where the game's installed. We're going to open the zip file. We're going to pull over the .ini file that we want. We don't need to add anything else. The mgs2.asi is already what we need. The ini file is to actually turn on the mod. So let's add item random.ini. And we can close the zip here. And now let's go into the actual settings here. This is a large file that explains a lot of the different settings, and there will be a certain set of settings you probably want to check first. Well, let's start at the top. Item render here, enabled yes, means that the itemizer is on, and all of the uncommented sections are basically already set to be this. If you want to change them, you're going to uncomment them and then say no, for example, to set it off. However, in this instance, yes is actually correct. We want to use the first setting called logic here and set it to yes. What does this mean? Well, if logic is set to yes, it will apply logic to try to ensure that you have the opportunity to pick up any key item before it becomes necessary. So, for example, you have to have one of the two, M9 or USP, before all go, or else you cannot finish here. But if you set logic to no, it can happen that you get the M9 or USP specifically whenever possible. And that can also mean sometimes after Olga, so it's technically impossible to play the game with the setting on, because sometimes the luck can be in the way that you cannot get the items you need at the time you need them. Logic yes will also ensure that in the plant segment you will get the stinger before Harrier if you checked all the possible locations before going to the Harrier. Next, mode. Default is the default setting here, makes sense? Well, mode sets it to different things. Default is your classic nightmare, where key items and regular items are shuffled within their own groups. Meaning, whenever you want to pick up a grenade or ammunition for your weapon, it will be changed with a different grenade or ammunition. Same also with the weapons and other items like boxes. Your BDU, your shaver, your camera, all of these are set into weapons and items pool and are swapped with each other. If you go to an item, for example, a box on screen, it will still look like a box, but if you pick it up, you will notice, oh, it's actually the infrared goggles. There's a different mode as well, called Cachetags. Cachetags is a hold-up challenge where you can only get regular items from dog tags. So dog tags are turned off, and instead what you get from holding up a guard is, well, visually still the dog tags, but actually you will get ammunition from them. The key items are still shuffled with each other, and repeated pickups are unavailable. So enemy respawnables apart from dot tags are unavailable, and world respawnables are set to normal. The reward for picking up a dog tag will be your least stocked item consumable, meaning ammo, rations, etc., according to the percentage of max ammo. Meaning, when you really need SOCOM ammo because it's completely set to 0 and you have everything else, then you will get guaranteed SOCOM ammo. But if you have like a couple of SOCOM ammo and you have like 0 grenades, for example, you will get chaff, stuns, and grenades first from these dog tags drops before you get something else. Of course, again, the relation to each other is based on percentage. So if you can only pick up 4 chaffs, you have 4 chaffs over your inventory, it's set to 100. And then, of course, the likeliness for SOCOM ammo, which you can grab normally way more of, will increase. It is definitely a fun challenge. I can definitely recommend if you like holding up people in Metal Gear 2. Cachetags is also a great randomizer mod where the additional challenge is that you have to hold up people on top to get also more ammunition. And then, last but not least, the last mode is CachetagsNoRando. So it's the same as Cachetags except the key items are not randomized. This is a kind of different level. So all the weapons and items are still in the same position, but all the world respawnables are turned off. You cannot get ammo at all, except for holding up guards. Next is fallback type any set. So the fallback is actually determining what happens if you progress far enough that a key item is no longer available. This is a very interesting case. If you set fallback type to none, well, you have no fallback. Then if you run to an item point and you need an item, well, you don't have it. That scares you, runs over, you gotta reset. Definitely the truest sense of a randomizer. Same set as the setting means that the item will reappear in place of another one-time pickup that's available when the item is needed. An example of this is, for example, if you have not managed to pick up the camera until holds 1 in the tanker, if you go south, open the door to the left, I think there's a ration, not entirely sure, but that will be changed to the camera. So when you need the camera and you have not gotten it yet until holds 1, you can get it in this one location there. And of course, any set it's the default setting. Like same set, but the item will reappear in place of another pickup of any kind. Lately, then there's a few more settings. Save seed is always nice. If you make it safe, it will also save the seed of the current randomizer run there. You also got random loadout, which is kind of fun. If you start the game, you can either use the standard loadout, or you have even your starting loadout randomized, meaning the tanker will not be started with the camera and the M9. The tanker will be started maybe with the infrared goggles and the wet box. Just terrible as a start for randomizer, but that's what a randomizer is. Random cards. Now, random cards, if you set this to yes, specifically this setting can be great for randomizer speedruns, because normally you get cards and they're not randomized. But if you in the story get a card, it can happen with this setting set to yes, then you get immediately the highest level of card. And that allows you to skip large portions of the game. Say, for example, when you meet 𝐇𝐚𝐮, instead of getting the level 1 card, you get the level 8 card. You can basically run through the entire game without needing any other card. Great for skipping sections, terrible if you actually key items. Set this to yes if you want to have a chance for a really fast speedrun. And, of course, in conjunction to that card type, you need to have it to be set to add, at least, or to override. So as the descriptions say here together, now they actually make sense together. Random cards, yes, will put cards into the random pool instead of giving them to you in cutscenes. That means also you can pick up a card from one of the items. This could result in broken logic for other items, so use it as your own risk. Absolutely fair. The logic for card type is either override, set the card level to the level of the randomized card if a higher card is higher than your current card level. So if you have card 8 and you pick up card 2, it will not set it to level 2. It will only go up, but it definitely will go to the level 8 if you only had, for example, card level 2 beforehand. If you set it to add, then no matter what happens, you will just add 1 level to your current card level. This can be fun if, for example, you get a lot of these cards early on, but it doesn't matter which one they are. They're still going to be added 1 by 1, which is a little bit less broken. And lastly, of course, we have report directory and report file name. If you want to have a report, which includes, for example, the seed that you have, and of course, where these different item locations are, because this report will also feature then what the original spawn we had, say, for example, the wet box, and what item it was instead in this seed. Definitely fun to see that afterwards a run, if you want to check, like, hey, have I actually checked all the locations? Have I gotten this key item before, or did I just miss it? Turn the setting on as well. There's also extra things you can do here with user seed, where you manually enter a seed here, which is great for randomizer speedrun races if both runners have the same seed, and then they have to see if they can finish the game faster than the other person set on the same seed. And of course, with copy seed, you can copy the seed as well. All right, let's just go to new game here. I'm going to open the tanker, and thanks to the new game mod, we can also see here what actually is being set here. So the item randomizer is set to the version B6, M1 or mode 1, and of course fallback logic is active here. I'm gonna go here to tanker, say very easy just for the example, and write a 1, and now we get through here. And now on screen it will also show you then what item you've gotten. So this is very important. The screen will tell you which item you got, especially if you start the scenario and what your randomized loadout will be in the beginning. So in this example here, I got the USP and M9 and the cigarettes, which is great. The only item that I need to finish the tanker now is actually the camera. So let's see if we can find it beforehand. So if we go all the way to deck D, there will be the orange box. And there's a chance that this box will already be the camera, allowing us to skip Olga effectively. Fortunately, we did not see on screen what it is, but it was actually box 1 that was featured here. All right. So we are forced to go all the way up and then meet Olga. All right, so just beaten Olga here. And let's see after her drop what it is. If she has the camera, yep, she has dropped the camera, so I don't need to continue with anyone else. I don't need to check any of the other items. I can just move on, basically like a normal speedrun, and go to the end game. All right, so that was standard mode. Let's go and change the mode, not to default, but use Cachetags. And now we can see here, mode is actually set to M2, so it says now B6 M2. Let me start again a tanker here, very easy, just for the example. Right at tab 2. Alright, we got the camera, the M9, and the cigarettes. And I mean, we start still with the normal amount of ammunition here. But if I go and hold up this guy and get his dog tag, here, he will drop something. What will he drop? Well, he dropped bandage for us. That's nice. So that confirms basically when there is a dog tag being dropped here. And if I now go and see what his has, we get a ration for him. Because rations were 0 so far, and now we have 1 more. So this all confirms that dog tag is working. Very cool. So that was him here. So what he has, and then we can move on. And he has Pantas. Because why not? We have Pantas now in the tanker. Alright, that's the difference between default and Cachetags mode. Alright, and if we go and do CachetagsNoRando, of course it does make sense that loadout is randomized. So we're going to set this to no. And cards, of course, also to no. And if we go and start this mode now, as you can see here, we have no information about the loadout we used. Gonna wait here, and we can still go and drop the dog tags. And as we get the dog tag here, we get medicine instead of a dog tag, which is kind of fun. So yeah, all the things are still the same here as they were with a regular run, but now if the dog tag is being dropped, this is how you get ammunition and other items. Definitely fun for people that like to do dog tag runs. That's basically everything that we have here for the item randomizer for Metal Gear Solid 2 PC Substance. There are other randomizers that have been developed, such as, for example, Metal Gear Solid 1, I think, has one for the old PC version, and also Metal Gear Solid 3 Master Collection version for PC, which uses cheat engine and some scripts to make it happen that there also there's a randomizer in Metal Gear Solid 3 for the PC version of the Master Collection. This version that I presented today is for the old PC version of Metal Gear Solid 2, so this does not work for the Master Collection. But if you want to know where to get the old PC version, check out the first video in this series, and then you know how to get it. Alright, that was the presentation of the item randomizer, how to install it, and what these different settings do. Wish you lots of fun with that. Again, remember, this is a not fully developed mod. I'm not even sure if there will be any updates coming for this. But, as always, have much fun, and I'll see you soon all in another video. Goodbye.